Serena Williams was named this one of this year's Time 100's most influential people, and
They interviewed her.
they interviewed her, and I'm sure they spoke to her about plenty. But the thing, because I don't know, I didn't read it, but um, y'all know I try to read things. I try to come in here prepared, but life has been hard
Podcasters,
lately.
man.
Right. But life has been hard lately, so I am showing up, and that's what's important. So for this pot anyway. So so she's on this list. They interview her. The thing that Entertainment Tonight picked up was her being asked about being at the Super Bowl. If you were living under a rock and weren't watching TV with the rest of the country, back in February when the Super Bowl happened, then you probably don't know that when Kendrick Lamar performed at the very end of the performance during Not Like Us, Serena Williams is off to the side of the stage, sea walking and whatnot.
Yep.
So at the time, I think she had said, "Oh, she's from Compton, blah blah blah. That's like it's a big deal for her to be on that stage as a Compton native, you know, all that jazz." And there were a lot of people who felt that way, that she was there because of LA and not because of Drake, right? Now, I'm going to tell y'all what I always thought. So, yes, sure, she's from LA, she's an LA native, and there is a lot of pride in having Kendrick Lamar being on the Super Bowl field, and Kendrick is very LA in his music and everything he does. He tries to infuse LA culture. So
Right. And
that
there's a
is
conscious effort right now with that. Like, if it wasn't clear before, it is abundantly clear with everything he has done in the last year.
right. So without a doubt, we know that Kendrick is very much mindful of that when in everything he does.
Right.
But Serena girl, it's a song that came from a rap battle between Kendrick Lamar and your ex-boyfriend. And
And
we are not going to sit here. Okay, let me read what she said, and then I'll say what I have to say.
again,
um, so it says Serena Williams didn't see her performance in Kendrick Lamar's Super Bowl halftime show as a dig at her ex Drake, but rather a tribute to her hometown of Compton, California. The tennis pro tops Time 100's most influential people list, and when asked if she felt her collaborating with Kendrick, Drake's adversary, was a dig at the rapper, Serena shares absolutely not. Not you eating no.
what? No, an orange.
I know, that's it. Not you eating the orange.
Oh, I think he said an almond. I was like, nigga, this ain't no
No.
almond. It's orange.
I
I
didn't even
left the
know.
oranges for last.
I didn't even know orange was coming with the peel on it and everything.
Shit,
You got to
so
really
that's
get in
left.
there.
All that's left is three. One
All right.
orange. The rest of the fruit salad is gone.
All
So,
right.
save the best for last for y'all. You know what I'm saying?
And ever since I've seen you eating your fruit, before we were getting ready to record, I was totally going to grab some mandarins and I didn't. And now I'm sitting here, I've been watching you eat fruit and I'm like, now I really, really want a mandarin. Anyway.
Should have bust down your mandarin, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. So she says, I would never do that, and that was sad that anyone would ever think that. I respect how they could. I respect how they could. Obviously, I can see how someone would think that, she tells the magazine. I have never had negative feelings towards him. We've known him for so many years. As for whether she now regrets her decision to perform on the world stage at the Super Bowl, the mother of two admits, I don't know if I regret it or not. Whatever that means. Because I don't, that's not really an answer. But Serena girl, I like you very much, and all that you've accomplished, and you're a badass. You're a bad mamma jamma.
She's the bad man pajama. It's my daughter's song. My daughter loves that. She
That's
be hyped when that shit come on.
that's a classic. That's
You
a
cleaning the
classic.
crib and that comes on randomly. She be like, "Oh, oh."
Now let me ask you
Anyway.
something. Which one?
Hmm?
Which one? As we talk about remakes and things, does she like Foxy and who is it, Drew Hill, or does she like the original?
We talking about the original.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just asking because we just had that whole conversation, so I had to ask.
Yeah.
Anyway,
The original.
Serena,
Oh, you feel?
girl,
Oh, go ahead, finish while I.
girl, what do you? We're not dumb. And please don't come in our comments telling me that I don't know, because you don't know either.
Mhm.
The problem is that it doesn't even matter whether she has ill feelings towards him or not. Public perception is all that matters here. What you put out to the public is what matters because that is what people see and that is what people make their inferences from and their assumptions. You don't get an opportunity to do things and people just say, "Oh, whatever she said she did, that's what she did."
Right.
That's not really how it works, unfortunately.
No.
So, I don't believe it was innocent because I believe she knows better than that. Um and I shouldn't even use the word innocent. I don't think she did anything wrong. So
Okay.
let me not use the word innocent because I don't want to make it seem like I think she did something wrong by going up there and dancing with Kendrick. I don't think she did anything wrong. I thought it was funny and I thought it was I mean, I thought it was two birds one stone. Yeah, you could go up
Right.
for LA, but you could also dig at your ex-boyfriend at the same time.
Absolutely.
Which you don't even need to because your entire life is a dig at your ex boyfriend, as far as I'm concerned.
Well, I'll respond when you're done.
And I'm only saying that because of the fact that he has publicly said things about her while she's just been minding her business and
And
living
her
her life.
husband.
And her husband. Well, when I say her, I mean her entire life. And that's why I say her entire life is the flex. Like you don't even need to get on stage with Kendrick to do that. And I think she is also aware of that. But I find it hard to believe that she took no delight in being able to do that during that song. That song.
Right.
He did other songs during that song.
Sure did.
That wasn't a coincidence. That wasn't like, oh my gosh, Not Like Us is about Drake. That wasn't that. And we're not stupid. So let's please. There's a lot of idiots on the internet, I understand, but everybody's not an idiot.
Right. So, one, this is bullshit. I don't believe her, not even a little bit.
You just be coming in hot.
That's it.
Okay.
Listen, I'm not here to sugarcoat. I'm here to
Okay.
keep it real.
Do your thing
So,
then.
that's number one. Number two,
Mm-hmm.
I think it's quite easy to tell that her doing the Crip Walk at the Super Bowl during that song was her way of doing multiple things at once.
Yeah.
One, she was supporting Kendrick. Cool, no problem.
Mm-hmm.
Two, standing with LA. I was gonna say standing for, but it's standing with. Standing with LA. Lovely. No problem there. Three, saying aha Drake. Na 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 na.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And four, also
Mm-hmm.
saying F you
Mm-hmm.
to the tennis corporation
Yep.
because she did that as a celebration and had to literally pay for it. She was fined. She got in trouble for doing that move after winning a game. So this was her way
Yeah.
of doing all of that in one dance move. And that I have no problem with. I thought that was pretty cool, but that was
It was
pretty
dope.
obvious. Pretty obvious. Now, my problem today with celebs is they do weird shit and then months later come back and say, that's what y'all thought I was doing?
Me?
What?
No,
Me?
I didn't
Why
do
would
that.
I do that?
I didn't do that. That's what you saw?
Why would you think that? Stop.
Who said that?
I don't understand why they do that. They make themselves look really stupid. Just stand on it. This is my thing, right? If you take a strong stance, you get two options in my mind. In my mind. A, stand on it and don't say shit. Or B, don't stand on it and apologize. Hey, listen, I was out of line. I shouldn't have did that. There's no reason I should be eating oranges while we're doing the podcast. I apologize. That was wrong of me. Or just stand on it. Yo, man, I ate oranges on the pod. That's it. Deal with it. That's what I did. Yes, I ate oranges on the pod. But all of this flip-floppity, I don't know. I want to try to save face. I think it's corny. And I'm a Serena fan. Let me be clear.
Me too.
Because every time I come up here and critique people, they say I'm a hater. I don't know shit. Yada yada. All right, cool, whatever. Suck my dick. But
Yep.
because sometimes you just gotta tell niggas suck your dick. But
Okay.
I'm a Serena fan. And I thought it was fly when she did it at the Super Bowl.
I thought
I
so
thought
too.
it was bold. I thought it was funny. I thought she looked great. I thought it was a great moment. And I said, oh man, this is crazy. This made the Super Bowl even better. This was like when you ain't know a cherry was coming on top of the sundae.
And
And
there it
this was like,
was.
whoo, oh,
And
look at
there
that.
and there it was. What I will say, which I think is important.
Tell him to suck your dick.
No, I'm not gonna do that. But what I will say is what I will say is if
You want to
Serena
say it.
no, I don't. If Serena
Okay.
were to come out or had come out back then, back in February, and said that she did this as a F you to Drake, she would be blown to bits. And she knows that. And we know
Whatever, man.
that.
Dude, listen,
We
y'all
know
got a bad history. The nigga dissed your man on records. He spoke about you on records. That's it. It's beef. All right, then it's beef.
right. But it's not all created equal, right? So Drake says what he says, and yes, sometimes you'll hear chatter where people will defend her or the other women that we know that he's talked about. But wide and large, if Serena had come out and said they would have called her petty, stupid, she needs to be worried about her husband and her family. They would have ripped her to shreds. So, given that, I get it. I'm not saying that changes anything that I just said, but I do get it. I do get it. Even though I don't believe her, even though I think there was more to the story, I do understand that sometimes your peace is more important than standing on business. And I
Okay.
don't and this is too trivial of a thing, I think, for her to be blown to shreds for. But I do believe that even if she said today, hey, yeah, I knew Drake would be watching, and he's said a lot of things about me and my family, and to be quite honest, I saw an opportunity and I took it. I think people would have her head. And especially the men who love Drake, I think they would tear her apart for that. They
Okay,
shouldn't.
so lie to Time Magazine.
They shouldn't. But yeah, but I guess you gotta weigh what's important to you, and you gotta weigh how you protect your peace as a celebrity. I don't know. I'm at odds with this because I don't know that she would. she would have been treated kind if she were to admit that. The
So
more
it's
I
better
think
to
about it.
lie to all of us and insult our intelligence.
No, because I don't like the insulting of the intelligence. I think that for me, like I'm in the middle of this at this point. Like as we had this conversation, the more I think about it, I'm like, well, what was she gonna do? And if she did it, then what was gonna happen? And then everybody would have been fine with her being cursed out for, talking about Drake when honestly Drake deserves it. As much as he talked about that woman and her family, and she wasn't bothering him, as far as we know, a little dance on the Super Bowl field pales in comparison. But whatever. I don't know. I I started this conversation thinking one way, and this conversation thinking very differently about this.
It was my fault. I shouldn't have told them the SMD.
You think that's what it was?
That was the tipping point.
Got it. Okay, I see what you did there. You, that was good. That was clever.
I tried.